Hello and welcome to my review of the, of course, returning Lamborghini LP640 to Gran Turismo, last seen in GT6, skipped Sport, and now it's back again in 7. I will be honest though, I kind of put off buying this car for the first few days, because even though the price is fantastic, 385,000 really undercuts most of the other supercars in the game, I put it off because I expected it to be essentially the same as what it was like in GT6, albeit with different physics. And those of us who drove it back then will probably remember it was a little bit quirky, let's say. The front end could be a little bit loose and floaty, especially at high speeds. The interesting thing is though, they've really revamped this car for its return. And as amazing as the Carrera GT is, for example, this thing is far more beginner friendly and far more potent, even in its untuned form. This thing is so OP, it has a ridiculous level of grip, and it actually handles almost like what you'd expect from like a mid-engine GTR, almost. It's fantastic in terms of handling. It is almost reminiscent to some degree of the Aventador, actually, which of course would make some kind of sense, but that's certainly not how it used to be. Now with that kind of price, the stakes are pretty low. It's not like it takes you that long to get 385 grand in this game, but you get one hell of a car to work with from that. The PP level, or performance points, is 608, which is reasonable. You can tune it up to a similar kind of level as the Carrera GTs and the Ford GTs, etc. In terms of power, 631 stock, which is already good. Fully tuned, just under the 900 region, no turbos, no superchargers. It has a weight of 1,665 kilos though, stock of course, because that is one of the slight downsides of modern Lambos. They do tend to be fairly heavy. It's not necessarily in bad company, you know, the GTR is heavy, the SLR is heavy, but there are others which do undercut that. Your Huayras, your Carrera GTs, those are much, much lighter than this, but the all-wheel drive, I would say, more than makes up for that. This is a very, very highly manoeuvrable vehicle, and if you even don't touch the power, just drop the weight, upgrade the brakes and the suspension, you're going to have yourself a true weapon on a fraction of the cost of any of the other supercars, as I said, or at least most, let's say, of the other supercars. Now, ultimately, I think it kind of goes without saying, based on what I've already said, you should definitely buy this car. To be honest, even if you're not a super fan of the LP640, it's just a useful car to have. This is easily one of the most forgiving road cars I've driven in the game so far, so one hell of a revamp compared to how it used to feel. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I couldn't really be happier with how they've brought this car back. It looks great, it certainly sounds great. The tuning, well, all of the tuning is a bit restricted in this game in terms of top-end speed and power compared to what it used to be, but within those new confines, it certainly isn't slow. With the aforementioned just under 900-ish horsepower, you're looking at a top speed in excess of 250, so again, not slow. It can outrun something like a Carrera GT, for example, fully tuned, at least in my experience, so it's certainly quick enough to win events, but it really is, I cannot stress enough, that level of grip, and even just the straight-out-of-the-box handling on this thing, and the manners, and the personality even which it has, which makes it such a pleasure to work with. I think a lot of you will have probably purchased this by this point, because of the price, and you'll doubtless agree with me in most cases, but if by some chance you haven't bought it yet, well, you definitely should. Ultimately, there's not really much need to repeat myself beyond that. Sometimes the best cars are the most boring reviews, but on this occasion the LP640 is just a fantastic car. If you haven't bought it, go out and do it right now. Ultimately, if you want to check out the raw footage with no commentary, of course you can click through to that video in the playlist, and you can click either my tuning playlist here on screen, or the GT7 videos playlist to see all of my other content in this game. And of course, stick around on the channel for more. But until next time, I'll see you then, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.